Hi everyone, welcome to this deep dive tutorial covering timeline editing, the master channel, and the undo-redo functions of Mastering Console 2. Mastering Console 2 runs on Windows and Mac as a standalone application and is the first truly complete mastering solution for Dolby Atmos. With Mastering Console, you won't need any other applications like the Dolby Atmos renderer, the album assembler, or even a DAW at all. You can do everything you need quickly and easily with the Mastering Console. This tutorial is divided into chapters, so you can easily jump to the section you are interested in. Check the description below for timestamped links to each section. At the top right corner of the Mastering Console, right next to the monitoring controls, you'll find two controls for zooming in and out. The vertical one lets you increase the waveform size in case you have imported quiet files. Another way to zoom vertically is to hold down the Alt or Option key while using the up and down arrow keys. And the horizontal one lets you zoom the timeline by clicking and dragging horizontally. Another way to zoom in and out of the timeline is to hold the Alt or Option key while turning the scroll wheel of your mouse. The position of your mouse on the timeline is then the center of the zoom. If you hold the Command or Control key while zooming, the Mastering Console will try to zoom in a way that keeps the playback pointer in the center of the window. You can also zoom in and out using the up and down arrow keys. If you hold the Command or Control key while using the up and down arrow keys, you can zoom all the way in or all the way out with just one step. With the left and right arrow keys, you can jump between clips. Below the Mastering Console logo, you'll find a batch mode, album mode switch for the two edit modes available in the Mastering Console. Batch mode is designed to do what the name implies. You import files that you want to edit and batch process them together. Technically speaking, there is no relation between the imported files when using batch mode, and so Mastering Console processes each of your files individually with no regard to what comes before or after it. Album mode is designed to create albums from your imported files with gapless transitions and or crossfades if desired. Now, after switching to album mode, you may notice that white triangles appear in the timeline. These are your region markers. Regions define the parts of the timeline that will be eventually exported. By using these markers, you can split clips into various parts or join clips together into one export region. Now, you may be wondering why batch mode doesn't have these region markers. That's because clips and regions are always one and the same when working in batch mode. This makes markers unnecessary. In album mode, the first region always starts at the beginning of the timeline, and the last region cannot end before the last Atmos clip. Now, you can't have a region without at least one Atmos clip in it. If by editing clips or regions you have a region that becomes empty, it will automatically be deleted. Below the timeline, you'll see the master channel and the true peak limiter. The master channel works per clip and the limiter works per region. If you select a clip in batch mode, you automatically select the corresponding region since, again, clips and regions are one and the same when working in batch mode. In album mode, you can select clips by clicking on them. Doing so enables the master channel for editing. You can select a region by clicking between the region markers. When you do this, you'll notice the true peak limiter will become available for editing. Right-clicking on a clip lets you delete it from the session. Right-clicking on a region gives you four options. You can delete the selected region, or create a new region that starts at the position where you right-clicked on the timeline. You can merge all regions into one, and you can also auto-split your timeline into regions. This comes in handy when you have edited your clips a lot in an album and your regions do not reflect the actual tracks you want anymore. By clicking auto-split, the amount of regions is set to be equal to the amount of Atmos clips on your timeline. The starting points of each region are then set to be on the transitions between those clips. If you have overlapping clips, the starting points are placed right in the middle of these overlaps, which works as a good starting point for crossfades. When you switch to album mode, two more buttons become active. These additional buttons help you in quickly editing the clips and regions on your timeline. Clips can generally be moved freely on the timeline. With ripple mode, you can move a clip and all subsequent clips together as a whole. Ripple mode has 4 settings. One is off, one for Atmos clips only, one for stereo clips only, and one for both Atmos and stereo clips. You can change ripple mode also by clicking the R shortcut key on your keyboard. When snap mode is on, every movement of the things on the timeline will snap to the points of interest. These points of interest include clip boundaries, region boundaries, fade starts, and the playback pointer. These movements include not only moving clips themselves, but also dragging the region boundaries and the clip handles, which we will take a look at in a moment. You can also toggle snap mode using the T shortcut key on your keyboard. If you try to move clips to a place where they cannot be located, they will snap back to their original location. This happens, for example, when there's a point on the timeline where 3 clips overlap, or when one clip is completely covered by another. For Atmos clips, there's yet another way of positioning on the timeline. If your imported ADM-BWF files already have the timecode start parameter set, you can right-click the time bar and select Sort to Timecode Start. This will place each clip on the timeline according to its timecode start value. Before you do this, you might also want to change the value with which the entire timeline starts by adjusting Set Timeline Start using the same right-click menu. Here you can either set the timeline start manually or use the timecode start value of the first clip on the timeline. After you've decided on the order and position of the clips on the timeline, you can now adjust the length and fades of each clip. Each clip has 4 handles, 2 on the bottom for cutting and 2 at the top for adjusting fade in and fade out. If you hold down the Alt or Option key, the handles snap to nearby points of interest, such as clip or region boundaries, as well as fade endpoints or the playback pointer. Holding the Command or Control key and dragging the fade handle vertically lets you change the shape of the curve. And finally, right-clicking on the fade handle lets you choose between normal and S-shaped curves. If a clip is shorter than its corresponding file, you can move the file position inside the clip by holding the Command or Control key and dragging the waveform horizontally. All these features can also be adjusted by clicking the values below the timeline and directly entering a value numerically. When you select a clip, the corresponding values become visible here. Editing Start moves the clip to the selected position if it's possible to do so. The end and length parameters change the length of a clip accordingly. The fade in and fade out values determine the length of the fades. And clicking the small triangle button reveals 2 more parameters called cut in and clip offset. Cut in has the same value as start, but changing it doesn't move the clip. Instead, it tries to cut out the start of the clip as if you have moved the cut handle at the beginning of the clip. Clip offset moves the position of the file inside the clip. Now, this only works if the clip is shorter than the corresponding file. If the clip is the same length as the file, you won't be able to slide the file around inside the clip. The Unit button lets you change the time units used in the mastering console. You have 3 options to choose from. The default option is time and is shown in milliseconds. The second option is time code and is shown in frames. And finally, the third option is the time shown in samples. You can also toggle the unit by using the U keyboard shortcut. Numerical input also works for regions. Just click to enter your desired values directly. Note that since regions only have a start and an end, only the first 3 values can be edited. You can also edit the name of a region by clicking on it. The name is shown to the left of the small triangle button. The name you enter here is what will be used for the exported file by default, but you can change it in the export dialog if you like. Each clip has its own master channel. When you select a clip, be it Atmos or stereo, the corresponding master channel is shown in the bottom left corner. You can process a clip with plugins in its master channel. For Atmos content, there are OBAM plugins, which can process the entire Atmos mix with up to 128 channels. And for stereophiles, you can use your full arsenal of VST3 plugins. Atmos clips have an additional master volume fader after the master channel. You'll likely need to use this when measuring your loudness levels and making sure they conform to your desired standard. VST3 plugins for processing your stereo clips first have to be scanned and added to the list just like any other DAW. You can manually scan your plugins or make other changes through the VST3 plugin setup page. To access this page, click the gear icon in the top left corner of the mastering console and select VST3 plugin setup. If there's a problem with an OBAM plugin and it cannot be loaded, or if it crashes, a small text file is stored next to it, which can help us diagnose the problem. To add a plugin to the master channel, just click the plus button and select your desired plugin from the list. Use the minus button to remove a selected plugin from the chain. Signals flow from top to bottom through your desired plugins. You can use the up and down arrow buttons to change the order of plugins in the master channel. You can also store and load entire plugin chains as presets, which can be a big time saver. Click the preset name field to choose from your existing presets. Note that if you load a chain preset on a clip with a different channel layout than the clip from where it was saved, you might need to check each plugin to make sure it's doing what it is supposed to do on each channel of your Atmos mix. The hamburger button lets you store your chain presets. You can bypass the entire chain using the bypass button right next to the burger button. You can change the name of each plugin in your master channel to something more meaningful by simply editing it. You can bypass individual plugins by clicking the bypass button for that plugin. This is very useful for making A/B comparisons during playback. The power button lets you take a plugin completely out of the chain without removing it from the mastering console. This is a handy option because it reduces CPU load while still retaining the plugin in its last used state. If you change your mind and want to bring the plugin back, just switch it back on. Note that you can't switch off a plugin during playback since the mastering console has to rebuild the effect chain. You can only power down when playback is stopped. You can open any plugin for editing by clicking the Editor button. At the top left of an open plugin, you'll find the controls to store and load plugin presets. And at the top right of an open plugin, you'll find controls for bypassing and powering down a plugin. These controls are the same as the ones you'll find in the master channel. Like many other apps, you can undo actions by pressing Command or Control Z. To redo actions, press either Command or Control Shift Z or Command or Control Y. Both options result in a redo. All edits on the timeline as well as the adding or removing of plugins can be undone and redone. Any changes you've made in the editor section are also included in the undo and redo actions. As you undo or redo, the mastering console will automatically switch to the page where the undo or redo action is being performed so that you can see what's happening. And that's it for this one, folks. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and check out our other tutorials. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon to not miss any news, tips, and updates. There's more to come, so I'll see you in the next one.